All right, before this is all installed, this is obviously a 3-inch exhaust, but it's a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine, so it's not going to give you the V8 sound like the Mustang is, obviously, but it will give you a much better sound than what these things come with stock. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. If you watched the last video, you know we do have the AWE exhaust here, so we're going to be doing the install today. If you want to see everything that comes with it, watch the last video, but for now we're going to get right into this one. So we'll get under the car and show you what you need to do. Alright, so luckily with the Bronco being lifted, you don't need any jacks or anything to get under here. Rear of the vehicle, you follow this all the way up here, because you want to start at the front. Get these two bolts out and this hanger. This piece will drop, and that gives you some wiggle room to get the rest of the pipe and clamp off. So you'll be able to slide it this way, drop it all out, and then you don't have to fight with the actual exhaust and muffler portion on the back, because this will be out of the way. It just gives you a lot more room. So we'll have to get this hanger out. It is just rubber, so give it a good pull. That'll come out. You got a clamp back there connecting to the muffler, and then when you come this way, like I said, just two bolts here and this hanger as well. Everything comes off, drop it down, pull it back, and just wiggle it all out. All right, so we got the whole middle section out. You can see from Ford it is all one piece. You'll have to get that off. This is the bracket that we undid that bolts onto the side of the frame. For the rubber hanger that goes here, get a pair of channel locks or something, a big pair of pliers, and squeeze the rubber, because that is a huge pain in the butt to get off. And then as you can see, that was just the one clamp attached to the muffler on the back, and the whole thing comes out in one go. So now next step is to get into the back and get the muffler itself off. Alright, so now in the rear of the vehicle, you can see once the mid pipe is out, this thing's hanging all wonky, because it is just hanging on one hanger here and the other hanger there. Those are also rubber. You can see how tightly that fits in there with a little tiny bit of cutouts around. So that's where these come in play. You just want to grab it, make them big enough to push here and on the other side of the rubber, and just squeeze. Once you get the fat portion popped through there, then it's much easier. You can just kind of force it out and it'll slide. It's just getting it around there initially that will be the pain in the butt. All right, so we got the whole back muffler off, and you can see it was just hanging on the clamp there and the clamp there. So once that's off, this falls right out. We're going to start installing everything. So what we did next, take the bracket that was off of this piece, find your resonator piece, just put it on there, because this will be step one. So we'll get that under the car and start installing it. All right, hardware wise, when you open this up, you get 3 clamps. You get a little baggie. It's labeled tip clamp hardware. That's to bolt your tips on when we get to that point, just to clamp this down onto the pipe. You get 2 nuts, and you get 2 of these little lockers, and that is basically for the middle where the pipe hangs in the hanger. You put one of these on each side and clamp it down. Just stops any vibration. You'll never have to worry about your exhaust falling off, even though getting those out is the biggest pain in the butt on this whole job. So these might be pointless, but just in case, depending on how hardcore you're going off-road, we'll put them on, and peace of mind. All right, underneath, get your resonator part put on, put your bracket back on, and this, tighten this right down as tight as it goes before you go anywhere else. Follow along. One clamp here. This is where, if you have a 4-door, you put this extra piece on. If you're 2-door, eliminate that. You'll go straight into the over axle part here. You can see that'll go up over the axle like it is. Get it through your rubber. This is not completely on yet. Make sure you put one of your blockers on the outside or on the inside. Once this goes in, put the other one on that side. But for now, I'm going to get the rear portion put on, just so that everything sits level where it should. before I start tightening down any of these clamps and before I get that hanging in the rubber perfectly. So now back to the rear end of the vehicle to get that on. All right, now before we go any further, if you're gonna go the bash guard way instead of the dual tip right now, maybe you're taking this off for off-roading or whatever you're doing, this is where you'll be. Get your bash guard part. The hanger will go in your rubber there. You get a clamp, that will clamp to the over axle portion that we just put in, slides over, and you can see once it's on, this is tucked way up underneath your bumper. So it's pretty much as high as you can go, and it'll keep everything out. And if you happen to hit it, like I said, they got this extra thick portion around the tip here, so it can take a lot more impact than anything else. But if you're going this way, that is exactly what you got to do. All right, so when you go with the dual exhaust, your hangers actually end up further apart because it just makes it even on both sides of the Bronco. So what you get from AWE is this bracket along with these two nuts. And what that is if you come under the rear of your Bronco, this is the rubber hanger where your exhaust hanger went into originally. And you can see this bracket can go on here, just like that. Put the two nuts on, just start them. That'll hang on there. This will come off now and go back onto this side. And all you want to do before you tighten this up, make sure it's all the way up, because the higher this is, the better it is. Otherwise the tip on the one side will hang lower than the other. And once you get it transferred on, it looks just like this. Slide it all the way up, transfer that over. You could take this right off if you choose to. They do cut this thing out around to give you room, because this is actually a bolt. So if you take that out and your bolt falls in, it is now stuck in the frame back here on the rear end. And just to tighten it back up, you'll have to get a wrench in there. Just more of a pain in the butt than anything. So fits over top just fine. You won't see this once the bumper or the new exhaust is on anyways, so out of sight, out of mind type of thing. And now we are ready to hang the rear portion and get everything aligned. Okay, so we have the rear hanging. I didn't tighten up that last one yet, but we've tightened everything else along the way. I do have these two lockers on where it sat straight on this particular Bronco. It was pretty much the locking piece and then your rubber hanger. So just put one of those on each side, and any vibration, you don't have to worry about it slowly walking out of here and falling down. You keep coming down here, one bracket for the middle pipe here, and then onto your resonator, and you're all the way done up to the front. So now we'll go to the back, get the tips on, make sure it's all aligned properly before we tighten down that last one. All right, now with the back all put together, it is time to put the tips on. That's where these come in. You can see this nut's got the little square head on it. So when you drop it into the tip here, you can see it's got a little square cutout. She locks into place. Once it's in there, you throw the nut on, and you can see it's got the little cutout here. So when we tighten this down onto the pipe, it'll just clamp it slightly, but it's not going to bend or snap anything, just enough to hold this on there snugly. All right, now once we got the tips on, it wasn't quite sitting straight, and because this is pretty much a straight pipe, straight forward and back, this is your pivot point. So the rubber hanger was obviously hanging a little low on this side, so you can't push it up because it's just going to roll itself back down. There's nothing holding that. So what we did on this side is that bracket we put all the way up. I loosened it, dropped it enough to get this even, so it's the same height side to side, and then tighten it back down. So you can see it is a little bit closer to the top now than when we installed it, and it's an easy way to get your tips sitting nice and even with the bumper. All right, it is all on. Everything is on, everything is leveled, tips are on, everything's tightened down. So now last thing we got to do is a cold start, the initial startup, and see exactly how it sounds. that's it for this video, guys. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. How does it sound? Sounds really good in person. I'm not sure exactly how that'll pick up in the GoPro, but definitely a night and day difference between the stock exhaust and this new AWE exhaust. This is the catback. It's a 0FG if you're wondering. 0 is catback. They also make an axleback version, and that's the 1FG, I believe. So with all this catback, this is the sound you get. And like I said, for a little 2.3 liter engine, this is definitely way better sounding than anything else that you could have got on here.